Now this was the X-Bull that I put a video out about a year ago or less, and this is it now. This will give you an update of how they'll perform and what you need to expect of them. We'll get to the other side of the saw in just a moment, but it become harder and harder to start over time, and I probably cut maybe 30-40 logs with it. Very little maintenance, but one of the obvious is on the other side. Let me turn. Now keep in mind that I've had this just sitting in a corner of the shop, and there's a lot of dust and dirt comes through here, so that's why it's so dirty. I haven't cleaned it up. You see the condition it's in. We're going to see if we can get it running again, but the problem is obvious. The pull rope, the recoil. I did not like the way the recoil was on it. It was one of those pull starts that you had to pull it out 6 inches to get the key or the 3 little ears to fly out to grab the flywheel to pull it. So you had a really short pull on the rope on it to actually crank the saw, unlike other saws. So we're going to see if we can get this thing back up and running. We're going to fix the pull rope. I found a piece online that's not the same thing for an X-Bull, but it looks like it's the same dimension. So hopefully once we get this off, we get that new one over here. We'll see if it fits and we can use it on this saw. Well, at this point I've cleaned it up a little bit with air and kind of brushed it off some so I can get some of that dirt and nasty crap off of it. And we're going to remove the recoil, or the starter recoil. Now you're going to have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3. This one's hidden behind there. And then 4. And then you got 1 up here on the top, and I've already taken the time to take it out of there. It goes right here. If you don't take this one out, this cover won't come loose. So yeah, when I was tinkering with that, the recoil decided to just jump itself right back in there. So curious to see what's going to be on the inside when we take this off of here. I've already got these screws loose. I did point out which ones you need to take loose. Now I'm going to pull this off. Pull straight up. Oh, the recoil went back in all the way. There's what you got on the inside. You got these 2 little tabs that fly out that engages the recoil when you pull it. Now let's see what's underneath the bottom of this thing. Oh boy, looky there. Well, pretty evident. Once it busted, the rope started wrapping up right in this area here, which goes to those little latches on the flywheel that engages it to start. So I jumped out here, wrapped around there, went back over here. I never did like that system. They got the way they got that set up. Also, it looks like that one ear broke off right there. That caused the whole train wreck. So now what we're going to try to do is, we got this one here that we bought actually on eBay. It looks the same. Not branded, of course. All these clothes they all look the same. Looks the same on this side. Pretty interesting. Now let's see if it's going to fit. Well, would you look at that? It set right in place. When I found this on eBay, they did not tell you what it fit. They just said a Chinese chainsaw. So I'm assuming that it would fit, and it did. Now let's put the screws back in it, and then I'll get back to you and we'll see how it starts. I also jumped ahead 1 step. Now inside of this old one, this recoil, it's like a little liner or shield or something here, and we need to put this back inside this saw. Of course it will set down in there because it came out of there. And then put this back on there. Just like so. And then assemble all the screws back in that. And then we'll actually Actually try to see if the thing's going to start up. I'll probably have to clean the old gas out and add some fresh stuff to it. But this gas in this world nowadays doesn't last very long, so we're going to see what Okay, before you go back with all this stuff, or this cover, keep in mind that there was a little rubber plug right inside here. This rubber plug has to be taken out of this cover and put back in this cover as you see it right here. Now, it'll be a snug fit, but it'll go in there. Make sure these are lubricated. I've shot a little grease on them right now to actually make them more free. Make sure you got this piece here, this little rubber, this little cover inside there. Then install the cover back in place. You'll have to pull this just a little bit to get that mechanism to set down inside there. Put the screw back in it here. Put this screw back in it right down in here. Got a total of 5 screws that are going to go back into the case through the extra starter recoil. Line them all up before you tighten them. Oh boy, do you see what I did there? That ain't good, is it? Probably easier to put the screw in the slot first and then snug it up. Well, can anybody tell me what's wrong with this image of this saw right now? There's something on here that's not totally correct. Let me turn it around to give you a highlight of it. Post your comments down in the comment section below. Tell me what you see wrong. I see it. I wasn't the one to put this all together, but I can tell you that that is not the right way to do that. Let's see if you can figure that out. Now, we've got us some pre-mixed gas ready to go. We mix the oil and the gas together. We're going to put this stuff in here and see if it's going to run. Well, we got fresh gas in it. We got bar oil in it. Let's see if it's going to run. We're going to click the on switch on it. We're going to hit the old primer bulb 4 or 5 times, 3 times, whatever it's going to take. Choke it once. Now, I bet you this is going to have a short pull, just like the other one. And that's normally what happens is people try to pull them too far out and break that little ear off on that starter in there. Let's see what happens. Oh boy, look at that. Not bad, huh? Choke it one more time. It don't look good. Well, I've been pulling on this thing for a good 2 or 3 minutes. And what I did was, I went in here, took the air filter out. I wanted to check the spark plug. There is the air filter. And there's a spark plug. So I took me a socket and I took this plug out. And all I did was I took a cigarette lighter, because the plug was actually flooded out and probably needs a new one. But to get it started, let's see if that resolves the issue. That was an old trick that my grandfather used to use years ago out on the farm when we didn't have an extra spark plug and we didn't have a parts store right down the street. So yeah, I just burned glaze the end of that plug where the electrode goes to that little L piece, and to try to keep it from, try to dry it out some so that it would really throw a good spark. Now let's try this again. I'm not going to flood it because maybe that's what I did earlier, was I was priming it too much and I flooded that plug out. It's not a good idea to, once you crank these things up to rev them wide open, the cylinder and pistons expand in there and cause some scoring on the walls. So you'll really want to let this thing warm up before you start running it through all them big old logs you plan on cutting. Now, we're going to take this thing over here and see if it's going to cut, see what condition this blade is in, this chain. So let's go over there now. Well, it's time to see if this thing is going to actually cut now. Let's see what happens here. Well, they made a decent cut. Wasn't nothing super fancy. You can tell the old blade has seen better days. So it's time to put us a new chain on there. And not being run so long, she's doing a little smoking. But I think overall, we resolved the problem. The recoil change and recoil on these things is not too bad. It's just you're going to have a hard time finding the correct one.